I never like to use numbers, right? Saying, oh, I only work with clients who have obtained, a $250,000 portfolio, right? But it does benefit them to have that much to make sure that we're giving them all that they can get. Because what we do, if we have a very systematic process, right? So if they only come in with a smaller amount, we're not able to do these things that we're specializing in.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech to Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Secret Chord Ventures, J Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with CTech. Welcome and hello to another episode of 20-Minute Leaders. Today, I'm with Ryan Larson, a seasoned wealth advisor and the founder and CEO of FirstLine Financial LLC, based in Scottsdale, Arizona. Ryan embodies the qualities of a trustworthy leader and believes everyone deserves a chance to lead a life they can be proud of as they enter retirement. He credits his empathetic leadership approach to his experience as a firefighter, a career that gave him a sense of purpose and a lifelong passion to helping others mitigate risk. In his new business memoir, Ladder to Leader, My Journey from Failure to Fire to Financial Freedom, Ryan shares the true story of his evolution from a troubled youth to a successful founder and CEO, and the many life and business lessons he learned along the way. He recounts the struggles he experienced in school, how he felt like an outsider at home, and the unexpected turns his life took, including some of the lowest points that eventually led him to where he is today. It was Ryan's mom who first encouraged him to join the Fire Department Explorer program, where the entrance exam transformed his mindset and gave him the confidence that would carry him through challenges he has yet to face. Later, he discovered his passion for investing in financial education, becoming an expert in helping people protect their life savings from unnecessary risks and market fluctuations by creating tax efficiencies. In his practice at FirstLine Financial, he focuses on supporting retirees and transitioning boomers with all of their wealth management needs. Whether helping them grow assets for the future or preserving and reallocating them in retirement, he utilizes a unique combination of time-tested strategies for both securities and insurance offerings. Ryan Larson, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you so much for being here, Ryan.
Michael, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All the way from Arizona, right?
Yes. Yeah. Hot, sunny Arizona. It's interesting because it's starting to cool down right now. So the weather's getting nice and there's a lot of people outside enjoying themselves.
And you're stuck with me in this virtual podcast. So hopefully I'll make it fun over these 20 minutes. Ryan, your journey, on one hand speaks for itself. On the other hand, it's so incredible. And it sounds like it was quite an adventure, which is very non-trivial. I'm excited to connect the dots with you and leave these 20 minutes with a new understanding of different possibilities and at least from your own perspective, including some thoughts from your business memoir, Ladder to Leader, My Journey from Failure to Fire, which we'll talk about, to financial freedom. And so, Ryan, share with me a little bit about your upbringing. And I'd love to sort of walk through your journey and uncover bits and pieces that you're taking with you as you are now doing some pretty amazing things with finance. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride. It hasn't been easy for sure. I was a little bit of a troubled kid growing up. I got in a lot of trouble. I was a good fighter, actually. I was kind of known as being a good fighter, and I didn't really like that, to tell you the truth. I ran with the wrong, crowd in high school and just needed to really find myself. And after high school, graduating, didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. Once again, hanging with the wrong crowd. It just wasn't taking me anywhere that I knew in my heart I wanted to go. I really had to do a lot of, soul searching and find my true self, who I really am, not trying to fit the mold of, that high school mentality growing up of trying to always fit in. And I found that once you kind of start to break, that mold and just try to find who you truly are, what you truly are passionate about, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what your, quirks and, just to be, light with yourself, just to give yourself a sense of, reassurance that everything is going to be okay, no matter what direction you take. And so I think that's where coming out of high school, I needed to do that. And my mom actually helped me with that a lot. There was some time. Yeah. My mom, she's an incredible woman. She's had cancer for the last 17 years. They actually gave her 5 years to live, and it's been 17 years now. So she, just like myself, she's a fighter all the way through. And I came home one day from work and I was just kind of bouncing from job to job, not happy. I came home one afternoon and she had an opportunity, which was to be introduced to the Fire Explorer program, which is essentially you go and learn about the fire service and what it takes to be a fireman. What's the process like to get hired? And she presented this to me, and I was really taken back. I was a high school wrestler. I was really good at team sports, and I knew that the fire department is really about a team environment as well. And so that's really what drew me to start that endeavor when I was around 21 years of age.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me a little bit about that experience and how that changed you.
I had to grow up fast, actually. It was interesting because the very first night that I went down to this training academy, and my eyes lit up, and it was such a cool sight to see. There was fire trucks down there doing some training. They were like pulling hose off the trucks and ladders, and it looked like this beautiful, orchestra, if you will. Everyone kind of knew what was going on, and it seemed like they had purpose of what they were doing, and then they were enjoying themselves. That was the biggest takeaway for me. They looked like they were having fun. They were physically fit. And that's really kind of what's up my alley, is just being passionate about what I'm doing in my life, staying, physically fit through these years, and now having 2 kids. That's a really focal point in my life. So it drew me to, the fire department. Really, that was my calling right out of high school. And I knew it the day that I stepped foot on that training academy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And so some of those, personal maturity and leadership traits that you gained, I'd love to dig into those a little bit and how perhaps they are now reflected in the person that you are today and the success that you have in the business that you run.
Yeah, definitely with the fire department, you really do have to be a good leader. I wanted to make sure I kind of aligned myself with a good mentor who was very reputable, had a good reputation on and off the job. And I kind of just flew under his wings and looked at him as what I wanted to be one day. And his name was Mark. He was a great captain. He's actually passed away now. He got cancer and unfortunately passed away about 3 years ago. I think the anniversary was just a few weeks ago. But he also was a good hunter, and hunting was another passion of mine. So he introduced me to a gentleman. His name was Dwayne Adams, and he was a big outfitter. And as soon as, I met Mark and Dwayne, I started getting the sense of like what those characteristics will look like in people that are respected. And those people that are respected, in the world are, they're good listeners first off, right? They respect everyone. They don't try to judge too quickly. They want to get to know you and who you are as a person. And those are some of the things that I really learned very quickly. And to be a good leader, you need to be a good follower, and then you can lead by following eventually. So with that being said, I found myself taking those characteristics, and essentially using those skill sets that I learned early and applied them often in my career as a firefighter. And I think that is essentially what gave me the platform to continue to, expand my horizon per se.
All right. So let's jump to where you are today, the business that you founded with your wife, which I also have to understand a little bit what that's like. And talk to me a little bit about what you do today, and then we'll connect it back to you as a firefighter.
Yeah. So it was a very interesting switch. So for the listeners, I actually own my own financial firm. And, if we could kind of like backtrack a little bit, I was never good in school, right? And here I am today owning, my own financial firm with a really good client base who are, it's kind of like my tribe, they have not left me and, since the beginning. And it just showcases that I'm trying to do things the right way in the financial space. So obviously with being in the financial world, I know, how people sometimes summarize financial advisors or Wall Street and, those brokers that they work with sometimes. And I'm almost trying to like cut that mold, just break that mold. Whereas you don't need to work with, those types of guys who are just trying to like sell you stuff. You could actually work with someone who is just like you, very personable, has those good characteristics, being a good listener, understanding your situation, and then applying what my skill sets are now to their situation to eventually, hopefully, set them up financially better than they are right now.
And what does that process look like from when a person approaches? How does that engagement actually go through?
Yeah, so that's kind of the secret sauce with my firm is I work with 3 different firms in the Valley. And what I found, Michael, is that there wasn't really anything special there. It was essentially kind of cookie cutter, if you will. So when I kind of started jumping from firm to firm, trying to find that connection, right, that I could resonate with and I could build a good base and I could introduce those clients to that firm and then stand by that firm throughout the years. I wasn't finding what I was looking for. And it was my wife, when I came home one night I talked to her and I said, gosh, I'm just not finding what I want in this financial field. And she said, well, Ryan, you have a lot of, people that respect you in this industry, in the financial industry. Why don't you start your own firm? And I was taken by that because I knew I could do it. But when you have your wife say, hey, go for it, it just gives you that kind of like that thrust. Like, okay, she has my back on this. And, that's where it kind of started. I started studying for, these different tests and essentially started my own RIA. It's called a registered investment advisory firm. And I started my own process and I trademarked that process. It's called the RAP process, the Written Retirement Action Plan. And it allows clients to work through a process and understand exactly what's happening at each stage in the process. And then I kind of, I make it very simple, Michael. Like the financial lingo out there is very complicated sometimes. And what we do is essentially like if you're going to build a house, right, it's going to, you're going to go through this process. And sometimes you might work with an architect and you might change walls and roofs, pitches and windows. And that's essentially what we're doing with each of our clients. We're customizing their experience and we're building them that custom house that they're looking for. And essentially that's going to allow them to feel more comfortable every time they, walk in the doors. Like, hey, everything's going to be fine. I'm in my, safe space and I know how everything is working.
How much of that is strategic thinking around wealth management or retirement planning versus understanding the different options and simplifying this complexity that's been created around the space, or maybe a combination of both?
Yeah, it's somewhat technical, right? I mean, obviously you have to use different investment vehicles to kind of build this, custom home, if you will, right? So there's a lot of intricate investment details that we will go through with the client, but we won't get into those really hard discussions. And I wouldn't even say hard, those just in-depth discussions about what those investment vehicles are going to be doing until the third or fourth visit. It's really the first and second visit where we're actually just showing them a framework, if you will, and then allowing them to digest that framework. And once we have their buy-in, they get comfortable with me. I get comfortable with them. I understand their situation. Then we start to kind of move, the pieces of the puzzle down the road a little bit. And then once everything is good, that, we've met a couple times, that's where kind of the devils are in the details when it comes to the investments that we're using to really complete that overall home that they're looking for.
And how similar are those strategies? If you take your random sample of people, how similar would those strategies look like versus really personalized? And this is not just from a general question for people to consider as they go about their planning. How much of it is sort of, there's a best practice that optimizes for certain things, or is it really tailored to specific situations?
I think every client that we work with, it is 100% custom every time, because, one strategy might not work well with the next client. And I'll give you an example. You might have a client with, let's call it $100,000 or, $200,000. Mm-hmm. With that asset level, there's not a lot of opportunities that you're going to find besides like, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, kind of like the old traditional investment vehicles. But as you kind of move up that threshold, once you start breaking these different thresholds, there's different things that come available. And I'll just use like another quick example. Once you get to this accredited investor, you have $1 million of essentially liquid assets, right? Well, you could start getting into more, proprietary products, right? More specialized vehicles. And that's just kind of where things start to shift. The conversation starts to shift a little bit different. And I get to kind of start to pull a little bit more arrows out of my quiver and educate the client a little bit more about how fully customized we are versus someone who might only have, once again, $100,000 to $200,000. We can't, there's less vehicles to kind of share with them, to be honest with you.
And so what was sort of the ideal person to approach you if you had to sort of, paint the persona that would be most relevant for working with you?
Yeah. So I think our ideal clients is, I never like to use numbers, right? Saying, oh, I only work with clients who have obtained, a $250,000 portfolio, right? But it does benefit them to have that much to make sure that we're giving them all that they can get. Because what we do, if we have a very systematic process, right? So if they only come in with a smaller amount, we're not able to do these things that we're specializing in, which could be real estate. It could be private equity. It could be venture capital. It could be debt financing. So there's things that we definitely have, sought out to educate us more than the next financial firm out there. And I think that's just, me wanting to be the best advisor, the best fireman. It's just in my DNA to make sure that I'm doing whatever I can to optimize someone else's scenario.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And I love how you just connected it back to me to before. And Ryan, it sounds like quite a crazy journey. And I look forward to checking out the book as well. And it sounds like you're very intentional about, the success of your clients and thinking through, what does it even mean to be successful here, and how do you create success for the different people around you? And so I really want to thank you for taking the time to be here in these 20 minutes. I really enjoyed it. And I'm sure that you'll continue making a big positive impact on all those around you. So really thank you for taking the time to be here and for sharing with me your journey and your story. And I look forward to keeping in touch. So thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you so much, Michael. It was a pleasure.